Hello, hello, hello. I am author and entrepreneur, the Cerebral Palsy vigilante, Zachary Fenell. Please join me for today's video where I will explore responding to people's reaction to my walk, which is different because of my cerebral palsy, CP for short. To provide some context, here is a short video showing the way I walk. To recall the first time my walk stirred a memorable reaction requires a flashback to my days in elementary school. As I recount in the introduction of my first memoir, Off Balance, one time in elementary school, as I made my way down a hallway decorated with construction papered chain links and macaroni art, a younger student stopped me in my tracks by asking curiously one simple question. Why do you walk funny? Sputtered from my lips as I attempted to understand the question. The question, asked with innocent intentions, baffled me. The first response to cross my mind was another question. Do I walk funny? Such a response, however, would be unacceptable. I knew I was different, but at the age of 8, I didn't completely understand my situation. I couldn't answer I have cerebral palsy because the diagnosis served as a foreign concept to me. My parents told me I had cerebral palsy, but the name just wouldn't stick in my mind. Kind of like how you can study the same fact repeatedly for a test, but yet on exam day, the fact still slips your mind. Perplexed by my curious peer, I growled in frustration, because I do, before continuing my journey to the water fountain. Now, as I grew older, I dealt with such inquiries less. Probably fear suggesting such comments are rude or inconsiderate. With that stated, in the last 12 months or so, I have experienced an uptick in interesting reactions to my cerebral palsy walk. Much of that corresponds with an increase in interactions with children, both helping out in the children's department at work and being an uncle to 2 young kids. Although there have been some interesting reactions from adults too. Varying stories we will get to momentarily. First though, I want to emphasize context. Understanding the motives behind a reaction best guides your response, at least in my opinion. Others with CP or another physical disability may feel different. Again, this video is only my opinion, and in my opinion, understanding the motive behind the reaction determines how you should respond. Was the reaction based off innocent curiosity, genuine concern, attempt at humor, vindictive spite, a concept of disability misinformed by stereotypes? Over the last year or so, I've experienced each, plus more. Innocent curiosity? Not too long ago, I was over at my brother's house for a family dinner. As I was moving around the kitchen making my plate, my 4-year-old niece asked, "Why do you walk like that?" I nicely responded something along the lines of, "Because that's how I move." Now, had she asked a follow-up why, I would have explained I have something called CP. But she did not ask anything further, and the night continued. Similarly, there is genuine concern. As I was at work, substituting at the children's desk, I stood up to show a preteen or young teenager where we keep our teen graphic novels. Seeing how I walked over to the area, she kindly asked, "Are you okay?" I once again responded by saying yes, that this is simply how I move, and I thanked her for her concern. Once again, had she asked a follow-up question, I would have talked about my CP, but she didn't. Whether a young teenager or 4-year-old, these types of interactions are to be expected. Earlier, though, I also mentioned interesting reactions from adults. For instance, standing up from the checkout desk at work, I walked to get an item for an older customer using a cane. And what I imagined was the customer's attempt at humor. The guy said, "It looks like you need this more than I do," motioning to his cane. Personally, I found the comment bizarre, thinking to myself, "Are you going to give me your cane?" Rather than saying anything, I simply ignored the remark. Additionally, I chose ignoring as an option when I encountered a reaction motivated by vindictive spite. A tall young man in the teen area kept throwing an item up in the air and catching it. Wanting to make sure the item did not end up getting stuck in our ceiling lights, I walked over and asked him to stop throwing the item. As I turned around and started walking back to the desk, I heard one of his friends sneer, "Why does he walk like that?" There seemed to be no good outcome in responding to the comment, so I kept moving back to the desk. However, not all negative comments come from a place of negativity. Sometimes the remark just indicates the person's concept of disability is misinformed by stereotypes. For example, I had someone walk up to our checkout desk and ask me to grab her holds from the holds pickup area because her ankle was bothering her. I happily said sure and hopped off my chair to walk to the holds area. Upon seeing my walk, the customer said, "Oh, sorry." I dismissed her comment with a "it's a no problem," and went to get the items. My thinking is, I've walked marathons. Walking to a shelf and back is nothing. Of course, I did not say anything about being a marathoner. Although, if you were interested in learning about my journey to accomplish the unreasonable, not letting my CP stop me from becoming a marathoner, check out my second memoir, Slow and Cerebral. As demonstrated through Slow and Cerebral, or working my job, I am living an active lifestyle. And I hope that active lifestyle speaks to people and shows life with a disability does not have to be the stereotypical sedentary one, gradually leading to less apologetic reactions towards disabled life. Now, admittedly, sometimes the motive behind the reaction to the way you move can be uncertain. One time at work, a 9 or 10-year-old was walking beside me. I spotted she was mimicking the way I walked, a reaction you could take as mockery. Or as the saying goes, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So perhaps she was trying to be like me. Being unsure what motivated the mimic, I asked, "Are you mimicking the way I walk?" She replied affirmatively, and I explained, some people might find that mean, so I wouldn't do that. The message registered because she stopped mimicking me. Again, these are my experiences and how I handled them. How do they compare to yours? Tell me in the comments about the way someone reacted to your cerebral palsy walk and how you responded to the situation. While down below, make sure to hit the thumbs up icon to show YouTube and the world you enjoyed today's video. If you are interested in my books, Off Balance and Slow and Cerebral, I have left a link to my Amazon author page in the description of this video. For more videos from me, make sure you are subscribed to my channel and have rung the bell icon to receive notifications every time I publish a new video. Until then, remember, don't blend in, blend out.